I am on my main wall. Let's just have a look on my phone. Told myself that I was going to do some Facebook Lives every week just to get more comfortable doing them. So I wanted to talk to you all this evening, if anyone is watching, and if you're not, no worries. I'm just going to share it anyway because it's good for me to do it. And the reason I wanted to talk today, and I don't know if you can see the title of my Facebook Live, but I was reading in my magazine. I don't think I've got it here. No, I haven't. I was reading in my Women's Health magazine that I get every single month an article last night about loneliness. And the big headline that really stood out for me on it was that loneliness has risen by 79% in the last year. So, in the autumn of last year, Women's Health magazine surveyed around 2,000 people. And what I found quite surprising with that is obviously a lot of people that read Women's Health magazine, they're very into health and fitness and well-being. So you think they would, feel probably the happiest out of a lot of people. But they said that they seriously struggled with feelings of disconnection over the last year and isolation in 2020. 79% of respondents said that they now feel lonelier than they did before the pandemic started, which is a really high figure, I find, just in general. So that's also backed up, I found, I did a bit of research today with the Office of National Statistics, because their research indicates that pandemic induced loneliness has now reached its highest levels across the winter months, with 4.2 million people saying that they sometimes or always feel lonely. So that's for me a really worrying statistic for the just general population, because loneliness can, as we all know, contribute to really poor health and sadness. Now, in the Women's Health magazine, there's a guy called Jeffrey Hall who is from the University of Kansas, and he suggested some really good ideas on how you can combat loneliness and cultivate connection and really reboot your social health. So I thought some people that I'm connected with on here may need to hear this right now. And if you don't, or if you know someone that does, please just share this link or share my recording, because it might just help somebody. Because having quality relationships is what makes life meaningful. And as humans, we just have a inbuilt desire or need for connection. But right now, we're not getting that from a lot of people that we have in our lives, because right now most people are actually statistically more likely to either watch the TV or go on social media than pick up a friend and phone them if they feel lonely. And what's worrying is that that's now becoming the norm. And that's like anything, I believe that you do, whatever you put into anything is what you get back out of it. So whatever you put into a relationship is what you get back out. If you have a friend who used to call you every single week, they used to message you daily, and now they don't reply to your messages straight away, or sometimes they don't even message you, to me that signals that they don't value you as much as they did, and maybe your words and your messages that you send them don't really mean as much to them. And so over time you're going to just stop messaging that person, or stop feeling like your messages that you're sending are actually helping that person. And so that's how I feel the world has become right now. It's become a lonelier place over the last year, because even if you live with lots of people, you are used to dealing with people now predominantly over Zoom, not face to face. And we haven't had the kind of human connection, the hugs and that energy exchange with so many people that we care about in person for such a long time now, that it's becoming a way of life. And so some people, for example, are okay with having just a few friends or enjoying spending some time on their own alone. But for other people, and I don't know whether you feel the same, you can really find that this time that we're going through now is really leading to a sense of loneliness and isolation. So that said, loneliness can have serious effects on your mental and physical health, like I said earlier, and I've been doing a lot of reading on that recently. And it can also weaken your immune system, which also what happens is once that starts to happen, you start to feel a bit down. You then start consuming less healthy foods. You don't have all your veggies and your fruits, and you start having more alcohol. And then over time, that can affect your sleep pattern and your overall energy. And there are lots of different types of loneliness that you might experience. And this is another thing that I've researched today, which I hope will be of value to some people on Facebook. And if you're in a relationship, for example, where there isn't a lot of closeness in that relationship, you can tend to feel more isolated than if you're actually on your own. And in today's society, where you can have lots of relationships or connections online via social media, most of those aren't really close connections. And again, they can leave you feeling unfulfilled. Whereas if you're an introvert, socializing can also be really exhausting, and even more so in big group environments where there's lots of networking and lots of talking, and it can feel really, really overwhelming just to create small talk with a big group of people. And now, because most of socializing that we do right now is done via Zoom or video call, it can be enjoyable to catch up on a surface level in that way, but it doesn't necessarily help you to feel closer to those people. And theoretically, we can have millions of people online, but if you don't invest your energy into those relationships, you're going to likely more continue to feel lonely. So that's how I feel that that's feel that it might be impacting people right now, in terms of the fact that we can't, especially in the UK, I know it's different in different countries, but in the UK, we're not able to see our friends, and we haven't been able to see our friends and family for such a long time. And social media can really amplify that feeling of loneliness at times, as you can be having a perfectly fine day, but you could be scrolling through someone else's feed and you can see some friends maybe in another country and they're having a social get together, or you might see a couple of your friends having a Zoom chat without you, and that can make you feel really isolated. But you actually started the day feeling really fine, but that's put you in a bit of a lonely state of mind. So, what can you do if you're feeling lonely? And it depends on who you are, it depends what type of energy suits you best. Some people, it's just chatting with a group of people online, and that's fine. But for others, like I know it is for me, I like to form closer bonds with people on a one-to-one basis, and I find that really is the key for me. So, Women's Health magazine found, and this is some really interesting statistics that I want to share with you. They found that 81% of people in their survey, so they surveyed 2,000 people, said that 81% of people said they missed out the most on their spontaneous dinners, drinks, and weekends with their families and friends. Families and friends? Family and friends. 50% of people said they really missed out on the office chat and the small talk that you get in an office that wasn't about work, but it was hard to replicate that remotely. 69% of people said they missed the in person chats with their closest friends who they've not been able to see. 61% of people said they missed having their favourite friends around for family around for celebrations. I know that's a big one for so many people. 46% of people said that they missed their wider circle of friends at social gatherings that they might not necessarily see any other time. And I know that's definitely the case for a lot of stuff that I do with my online business as well. And then 47% of people said that they missed having their extended family together. So quite a lot of people in this 2,000 person survey. And when people were asked if, and now this to me was really interesting as well, because I know how it all started last year with everyone doing Zoom calls and online um, quizzes and all that kind of stuff. But when people were asked if they were interacting less with people virtually now than at the start of the pandemic, 39% of people said they felt fatigued after communicating via screen for work. And I know that's the case, especially for my husband, who used to travel a lot. Now he's just stuck at his desk and he communicates on Zoom literally all day. And it can be so draining to have to be there to make sure everyone's okay on the Zoom and in the meeting. And to be doing that from the minute you get up to when you stop at night. 36% of people said that all of the group chats had fizzled out, or most of them had fizzled out. 19% of people said that they're just not socializing virtually as much as they used to. 6% said they didn't understand the question or they didn't know, so I don't know what that's about. But 18% of people said that they struggled with loneliness, but they didn't have anyone to tell. So they didn't tell anyone. And they didn't have somebody they could really confide in and open up to about it. And 13% of people said that they wouldn't say anything about feeling lonely because they felt embarrassed. And 9% of people said that they hadn't voiced their struggles over feeling lonely because it just wouldn't come up in conversation with the people that they lived with at home, therefore they didn't discuss it. So to increase your connection in your life right now, in women's health, this Jeffrey Hall guy, has created this loneliness remedy. So I think there's 4 points that he recommends. And so he says, if you think about your social health like your gut biome, so if you think about your gut, which is something that's really popular right now, it's living, it's ever evolving, and it responds to what you feed it and how you feel. That's how you should think about your social health. So just like you know that to keep your gut health, your gut microbiome healthy, you want to be aiming to eat 30 plus plant foods per week. You want to be giving your gut extra love and attention in terms of giving it the fermented foods, not having too much alcohol, not having inflammatory foods. Your social biome deserves the same degree of TLC. So he says you want to aim for 5 socially nutritious interactions a day, which is the same amount that you'd have of fruits and veggies. But actually, I think the NHS probably recommends more than that now because there's not as many nutrients in fruits and veggies anymore. However, you want to aim for 5 socially nutritious interactions every single day. For some people, that would be really easy. For some people, that would be really, really difficult. But if you think in an analytical way about your social life and dedicating time to engaging in really meaningful interactions with people on a daily basis, that's really going to enrich you. So he says, first of all, think about who. So take the time to identify your closest 15 people in your life to you right now and actively allocate time to nurture your emotional connection with them. So this is really important when you're going through a stressful time in your life, because you want to make sure that you're spending your limited reserves of social energy efficiently and on interactions that you know are going to nourish you. So that's the first thing. Find the first 15, the top 15 people that you want to interact with on a daily or weekly basis. Then the next one is what. So he says there are 4 kinds of conversations that are particularly valuable for your social health. The first is that it needs to be meaningful. So you want to find someone that you can talk about the big stuff with, the stuff that really, really matters. You want to be catching up with people and just having a laugh and a joke. That's really, really important. And also expressing your concern or your affection for people is another thing that you want to do the most of. And your social biome wants to have a balance of these kind of interactions every single week. So that's the who, that's the what, then it's the how. So the best way is, of course, face to face, which we all know, which is more difficult right now, followed by a phone call. And I found this bit interesting as well. So he said that video calling, so Zoom, what we've all been doing, isn't actually that fulfilling because you expend a lot of energy just getting ready and setting up and making sure you look good and keeping the conversation going. And it's far easier just to pick up the phone and have a chat with somebody. To do that first. And then he says the 2 more things that he recommends. He says prioritize your healthy social media meals over your junk snacks. And what he means by that is, even though going on social media allows you to go through, consume lots of information from lots of people that you know and that you're friends with online, it doesn't provide you that depth of connection that we all crave as a human being. And therefore our motivation to interact is going to decrease if we well, we will have less desire to interact in a more in-depth conversation with somebody if we've used up all of our energy scrolling through social media feed for hours. We just don't have the energy to pick up the phone and have a meaningful conversation, which is what's going to help us feel more socially connected. And then plan your social life like your meals and your workouts. So more than ever, it's really, really important to build your intentional social routines, he says. So like you do with your work, like we do with your exercise, like we do with what you eat, fostering a time for your closest relationships and having a routine where you generally do that. It's a diarised time when you're going to speak to your closest family friends or family members or your best friend. So there's a solid foundation of connection for you. And then when you feel that sense of loneliness, use that as a sign that you need to pick up the phone to somebody and have a chat, a personal one-to-one chat. So I don't know how long I've been talking for. I hope that's been of value to some people on here tonight. I have got the articles that I did the research on. So if you are interested and you want to me to send you the articles, just comment below and I'll send that to you. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you today, and I hope it's been of value to somebody today. So have a great evening, everybody, and have a fantastic week.